Let's talk about Port Adelaide Footy Club. Ralphie, Laddams leaves and that keeps Sam Powell-Pepper. So how was their trade period?
Yeah, that's right. So Laddams leaves, they get in Jeremy Finlayson.
Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you the one thing about Jeremy Finlayson. All he does is kick goals. All he does is kick goals. He doesn't do much else. 13 games for 23-9 this year, 15 games for 19-10 the year before, 44-25 the year before that, with 3-2-2 in finals there. So he's maybe not a fearsome player. Maybe he's not as robust. Maybe he's flighty. But he is a very, very handy goal kicker, and he very rarely misses. And for Port Adelaide, they believe that they will rise and fall on the back of that 2016 draft. Butters, Dersma, Rosie all playing key centre square roles, obliterated in that preliminary final, but they believe those guys can all play big centre square minutes next year.
Yeah, he's a high talent, Finlayson. We can't argue with that. I think he'll be a shrewd pickup. He's now a dad, and he's back in the States, South Australia. So hopefully for his sake and his maturity, he can continue to flourish and have a prosperous career at Port Adelaide. But when you look at Port Adelaide's trajectory, and we know that they're in the premiership window. They've been close the last 2 years. Finished first in 2020. Didn't get through the grand final last year. We know about that really poor preliminary final. But they are right in the window. They're building beautifully.
For how long?
Well, this is the question. So for me, it's cliff or conquer. Are they going to fall off the cliff next year once Boak, who's 33, Robbie Gray's 33, Charlie Dixon 31, Jonas, these stars for them, once they move on, are they going to fall off a cliff and miss out on their opportunity? Or can that next wave that you just touched on, Ralphie, can they all live up to expectations and become the stars of the competition? Can Rosie become the Robbie Gray and be that best small forward mid in the competition? Can Butters take over from Boak? Can Georgiades become the next Charlie Dixon? If they can do that, I think their list build is really nice. I think they've still got a strong core of players. You look at Wines and Aliir and Eamon and Burton and Houston that are all still in the sweet spot of their career. Combined with those youngsters that we mentioned and Lockie Jones and Dersma and Bergman, who I really like, I think if they don't win it this year, I think it might be too late for the likes of Boak and Gray and Charlie Dixon, but I think they're set up for a sustained period. I think this next wave, they've got a strong core. I can see them being a top 4 challenger for the next 5 years.
So what do you mean by cliff? So if it doesn't happen next year,
I think for the time that they're either going, if they rely too much on these older players, which we're saying they have, they could fall away. But I'm backing them in to spike. Okay. I think that you've got to look at the next wave. Can that next wave replace the current stars, the Charlie Dixons, the Boaks, the Greys? I think they can. What about the question mark? But I'm giving them yes. I think they can.
And what about the emotional baggage of losing 2 home prelims
that
in a row?
That part of the cliff. Does if they go to the well again this year and miss out? Does next year? Does emotionally 3 years of having a crack, not winning it, the veterans, do they fall off a cliff or do they have a sustained period? I think they will have a sustained period with the core they've got. What do you think?
No, I think these young kids are stars. Yeah. I think Rosie, Butters, they're just going to go next level and drive this midfield. They've got to become midfielders. They've got to become 25 disposal players, have maximum damage. They can't just rely on Wines, Boak and Dixon. It's just not going to happen. Against the best teams, they need to support those guys, and that's where they've been lacking the last couple of seasons.
We've got lots more clubs to get to after the break, but tomorrow night, Australia's 2 best white ball batters, Meg Lanning and Elisa Healy, will go head-to-head. It's the Stars versus the Sixers, and it's live on Fox Cricket, the first game of the WBBL.